Hello everyone. Welcome to the Career Chronicles presented to you by BDACC. So, today we have Yaswanth with us. He is a fourth year student pursuing BTech in Chemical Engineering and also secretary at Film and Music Society and currently placed as data engineer at Mastercard. So, my first question to you, Yashwant, is your journey from chemical engineering to data engineer role at Mastercard is very inspiring. So, how did you discover your passion in data engineer and what step did you take to transition successfully?
Hey Vikalp, thanks for having me here. This goes back long back to my schooling where I was introduced to programming first. I just really enjoyed it, and I even fell in love with it. I was doing it purely for the joy of it. I was doing some random fun projects in Python and I was uploading them in social media. Back then it was just a hobby. But when college was approaching, I started consulting some professionals and then I did research myself. I definitely felt somewhere that I belong in the tech community somewhere. So while choosing college, I wanted to be in the best possible college according to my rank. That's how I got into NIT Warangal. After coming to college, I prioritized what mattered to me rather than focusing on department classes. And that's how I find myself where I am today.
So, Yashwant, how important is DSA for roles like data engineer and how students should approach considering its limited direct application for such role?
Personally, I can say DSA is not really crucial for data engineering and data analyst roles. But its applications like the things you get when you practice DSA intensely, like critical thinking and problem solving skills, are really invaluable. Sometimes these are the things that matter when you want to get an offer from some big company. But being from a non-circular branch, like the opportunities in tech jobs are really low for us. So I can't take any chance regarding that. So I would strongly insist anyone who's aiming for a non-tech job from a non-circular branch to really at least know the basics about DSA.
So, how did your project on Google Cloud Platform contribute to your interview success and what advice would you give to students for creating such an impactful project?
Yeah, this particular project, I did this during my third year summer vacation. This was like just before the college was opening. I was almost confident and prepared with my profile for the upcoming interviews and all. I just was doing some iterations over my resume and I was talking to my friends. Looking at their resumes, like everyone were following a templated resume. Like everyone were having some DBMS project, one visualization project and one ML project. Even mine was the same. So I wanted to stand apart from the crowd. That's when while exploring, I stumbled upon cloud. See, basically, to explain it to layman, cloud is nothing but what we are doing locally in our computer. We are just like shifting it to server and automating the process. So, like, there's nothing to learn, nothing technically new to learn. We just have to learn the tools that are there to offer from the cloud services. So, I chose GCP particularly because its UI was simpler than the counterparts. And then like I followed like there's a YouTuber called Darshil Palmer. Like I followed a guided project from him because the time was less. I couldn't take any particular course on it.
How do large MNCs like Mastercard weigh CGPA versus skill during their hiring process? And what tips would you give to students who are trying to balance them both?
Sure. In my experience, particularly for companies like Mastercard, I think CGPA is not the sole determinant whether you will receive an offer or not. A 7.5 CGPA is like enough to clear the cutoff of most companies that I can think of. So a company generally sees like what you have done with your time in your college. So if you have exceptionally very good CGPA, then they can understand like you have did extremely good in academics. But if that's not your forte and you don't have very good CGPA, then you have to compensate by having some good PORs, like position of responsibilities or internships or any other good projects to compensate your low CGPA. So I would suggest like personally I maintain my CGPA by like focusing on easier subjects, and I would only read my core subjects only during the NSEMs. But I used to focus on subjects where I have good internal marks and there is a scope of getting good grade. So out of 6 subjects, if I even get like in 3 subjects some good grade, it will compensate the other 3, and I would have done what I wanted to do in the entire semester without wasting my time.
So, with multiple experience in tech stacks, So, which tools and technologies do you think have the highest impact in data engineering projects?
Yeah, for particularly data engineering role, I would suggest everyone to have an ETL extract, transform, load kind of project in your resume. So what you have to do is extract the data from some sources, transform it according to the business needs, and then load it into some visualization tools. So for extraction, I can think of Selenium and Beautiful Soup, which are Python libraries. And then for transforming, you can use Pandas, and of course SQL is also there. For loading, there are tools like Power BI and Tableau, and these are all like basic tools. But if you have time and you want to explore, there is Apache Airflow, and of course the cloud tools are also there, where you like this is only suggested if you have time and you want to explore those things, because companies don't really expect this from freshers.
So, networking is an integral part of professional growth. So, do you think interacting with seniors and peers help in your placement preparations?
Of course, interacting with seniors and peers is like really crucial for your placement journey, because they have already been like placed, and they have gone through what you'll be about to go through in the placement season. So I personally sought out to seniors and I was asking questions, and I made sure I didn't make the mistakes they made in their journey. So I have to mention this one particular conversation just before the interview, like Mastercard's interview. I was speaking with a senior who was placed in Mastercard. She happened to mention about a point that the questions that the interviewer was asking was from the resume itself. Like generally in in roles like data engineering, guesstimates will be asked. They'll be generally random, but this particular interviewer, he was doing it from the resume. It seems like he used to take a keyword and used to frame the question from that particular keyword. So before going to the interview, I listed out all the keywords from my resume, and I went there prepared with different possible guesstimates that could be asked. So it sure did happen somehow, and he asked me a question that I was already prepared, and there was no stopping me after that. So like conversations like this like really help before your interview.
So, what roles like soft skills, which includes communication and collaboration, plays in technical roles, especially in data engineering?
Yeah, communication and soft skills, like they generally are very crucial for any interview for that matter. So in those 30-40 minutes that you are about to give an interview, you have to project yourself in a very high manner to the interviewer. So the way you speak and the way you tell about your projects really matters. Personal tip, I can say that like before, once an interviewer asks you to explain your project, you shouldn't rush to the technical details first. First you have to hook the interviewer by telling about the application of your project. Like generally everyone will know about the technical tools and how it's made and what is the code for the project they're doing, but no one bothers to tell about the application part of the project. However small the project may be, there will be some application of that thing, right, in the real world. So when you tell those kind of things, the interviewer might get your problem solving skills, and also the way you project the project, like your presentation skills also matter a lot.
So, apart from this, you are actively involved in college activities and events with multiple responsibilities. So, how do you manage these with technical learnings and placement preparations, and how did they shape your profile? So, apart from this, you have been actively involved in college activities and events. So, how did you manage these with technical learnings and placement preparations, and how did they shape your profile?
Yeah, I have spent a considerable amount of time in organizing and conducting many events in the college. So I knew I was not passionate about my department, so I couldn't get like good CGPA. I wanted to compensate this with good PORs and some good internships. So I prioritized doing this also along with my technical development. So it used to be like sometimes I while learning the technical skills, I used to keep all the other responsibilities aside, and on a single stretch I used to learn whatever I wanted to. Only after that I would come out and participate in the college activities. So this not only helped in building a good profile, but also helped in my overall development. So I looking back, I don't regret any of that now.
So, looking back at your early college years, so is there anything you did in your first or second year that gave you an edge in the competition?
So yeah, again coming from a non-circuitry branch, when you see around, there's this common problem like people will struggle to select which stream to go for their career. So what I did was I decided way back, like way early, that I'm going to pursue and I'm going to take software development as my career path. So that's the thing I did in my. So again, coming from a non-circuitry branch, when you see around, there's this common problem like people will be struggling to find like what to pursue as their career. So it's very really important to know what you're interested in and what you're passionate about way early in your college. So like in the initial years, you have to spend your time exploring all the different options that are presented to you and sticking to it till the end. So there will be this constant noise from friends, family, and all suggesting some this career part, this and that. But see, it's again, it all comes back to you. You have to be interested in it, and once you make a decision that this is what you're interested in, stick to it for like give it time. But you cannot change the career path in between. You have to give it time, and if you find yourself in like a very really bad position, then you think of like shifting, trying different career paths. Till then, like stick to it, build your profile on it, and then you will find yourself in a position where you want to be.
So, my last and most interesting question of this interview is like why students frequently receive advices on do's of the preparation. So, it would be helpful for them if you outline some don'ts or pitfalls to avoid for preparation.
Yeah, like there are many like don'ts I can say about placement journey, but there's this one particular thing I regret till now. This was during my second year summer vacation. Like I am familiar with C++ and DSA right from my first year. I used to give contests and do it regularly in my first and second year both. But in the summer vacation, I started learning ML, and I fell in love with it. I was building really good projects. I was building my Kaggle profile and all. But I neglected DSA. I completely kept aside, and I was very stubborn enough to decide that I will only apply for data science roles, machine learning roles, and all. But when I came back to campus, the reality struck me. Like there are no big companies offering roles like data scientist and machine learning, or for data analyst for that matter initially. So all the companies that came, they were asking DSA for the OTs, and I couldn't clear even one technical OT in my entire third year. This was only because of the lack of practice of DSA. So anyone who is preparing for technical roles from non-circle branch especially, I would strongly insist you to learn like at least practice DSA regularly. You can't keep it completely aside because the opportunities are very less, and you cannot miss any of them. So if I would have given at least some interviews in my third year, unless interviews in my third year, I would have some experience coming to the placements. Yeah, so that's a big don't for me. Constantly keep practicing DSA.
So, thank you, Yashwant.